You were against same-sex marriage, now you're for it. You defended President Obama's immigration policies, now you say they're too harsh. You supported his trade deal dozens of times. You even called it the gold standard. Now, suddenly last week, you're against it. Will you say anything to get elected?
I did say when I was Secretary of State 3 years ago that I hoped it would be the gold standard.
Well, in this case, she's kind of revising history. She wasn't really going around saying that she hoped that this deal would become the gold standard. She was saying that it was. She said this in many venues worldwide. She roundly supported the deal as Secretary of State. So I think in this case, she's trying to wiggle out of the flip-flop and deny that it happened.
Millions of Americans are working longer hours for low wages, and yet almost all of the new income and wealth being created is going to the top 1%. Over
the last 5 years, or the first 5 years rather, of the recovery, the figure is 58%. So that's kind of an exaggeration. That's far from almost all of the income growth going to the top 1%. Still substantial, but not almost all.
I have been as transparent as I know to be, turning over 55,000 pages of my emails, asking that they be made public.
She hasn't said whether she told the State Department about her decision, whether to use a private server. She hasn't answered a lot of questions about how that was set up and operated. And I think probably most important, she hasn't said what's been done to prevent hacking. And as we now know, as AP has reported, there have been multiple attempts to hack into her system, and neither she nor her campaign has answered questions about it. So I think it's a stretch to say that she's been fully transparent.
If we want free tuition at public colleges and universities, millions of young people are going to have to demand it and give the Republicans an offer they can't refuse.
Both he and Clinton said the same thing. They both have plans to make tuition free for public colleges and universities. And they simply didn't say that someone has to pay for that, and it's going to be the taxpayers. These are expensive plans, and running something like $70 billion a year for Sanders and about $35 billion for Clinton. So it's a typical thing among politicians to suggest there's a free lunch, but this is anything but free.